Now, Ms. Hutchinson's lawyers, according to the New York Times, provided a statement after she finished testifying. The statement said this, quote, Ms. Hutchinson is justifiably proud of her service to the country as a special assistant to the president. While she did not seek out the attention accompanying her testimony today, she believes that it was her duty and responsibility to provide the committee with her truthful and candid observations of the events surrounding January 6th. Ms. Hutchinson believes that January 6th was a horrific day for the country, and it is vital to the future of our democracy that it not be repeated. End quote. Now, even as Cassidy Hutchinson was testifying, the filthy pig fucker Donald Trump was posting a dozen messages on his little toy social media website attacking her and denying everything she said. The Orange Vomit said he never complained about the crowd size on January 6th. Oh, my God. He never claimed that Pence deserved to be hanged. He never tried to grab the steering wheel when the Secret Service refused to drive him to the Capitol after his speech. And on his bullshit website, the Orange Vomit wrote this, quote, her fake story that I tried to grab the steering wheel of the White House limousine in order to steer to the Capitol building is sick and fraudulent, very much like the Unselect Committee itself, end quote. like a screaming, temper tantrum throwing, unhinged 6-year-old. Now, Cassidy Hutchinson did, I hate to use the term bombshell, that's how the press identifies these explosive statements, but she provided a lot of them. That description of the Orange Vomit trying to wrestle the Secret Service for control of his car so he could go to the Capitol. Oh, my God. Can you see that? And portraying Meadows, her former boss, as a man who abdicated responsibility to the nation and hoped to be pardoned. I mean, Mark Meadows, that slimy fucking coward, just pissed his pants in front of Trump and did nothing, and then comes in whining about, can I get a pardon? What did Trump say when he was running for the presidency? That he'd be surrounded by the best people. He knew the best people. And another bombshell that Cassidy Hutchinson provided to the committee today and to the public, when she said that Trump knew his supporters had dangerous weapons when he asked them to march on Congress. Now, what have we been told up to this point about that march on Congress? It was just a peaceful demonstration that somehow got out of control. If you believed that from the beginning, you're a fucking fool. And I know you, gentle listener, did not believe it. Neither did I. You don't go for a peaceful demonstration the way that crowd went. And now we find out they were armed. Who are they going to kill? Oh, my God. Cheney ended the hearing yesterday on a solemn note. She said that democracy is preserved by people, quote, who know the fundamental difference between right and wrong, end quote. I'm not laughing at her. This is sardonic laughter because what a fucking simplistic thing. And Donald Trump and his scum, his swine, his piglets didn't understand that. So we're still left with the fact that people of high rank inside this criminal administration have refused to talk about that distinction between right and wrong with the committee. But Cassidy Hutchinson, well, her name will go down in history too, won't it? She didn't shy away. 25 years old. And if there is a United States 200 years from now, her name will be mentioned frequently. Oh, my God. Oh, and in the opening statement by Liz Cheney, it was also mentioned that Trump's scum, the hit squad, the proud pricks, and the dumb fuck oath keepers, and the rest, his filthy sons, I'm sure, they've been intimidating committee witnesses in messages that sound like mafia warnings. One of them said, quote, "He wants me to let you know he's thinking about you. He knows you're loyal." Oh, God. So Liz Cheney is now raising the prospect of charging people with witness tampering, which is a serious felony, against the people who have been called to testify. I'm sure that this committee will know how to track these filthy pig bastards down. But I mean, are we getting this? Are we understanding this? Are we getting the full import of what happened? Trump knew his supporters had weapons, and he encouraged these people to march on the Capitol. It is against the law to have a gun in D.C., to have an AR-15 on the fucking street, on the steps of the Capitol, inside the Capitol. But that's what Trump wanted. And again, Cassidy Hutchinson had testified that the Orange Vomit knew his supporters were armed to the teeth. And on the morning of January 6th, more of her testimony, she said that Meadows and Trump were informed that Trump's supporters came to his so-called Stop the Steal rally on the Ellipse before the attack on the Capitol, armed with weapons. Again, pepper spray, knives, brass knuckles, guns, body armor, gas masks, stun guns, blunt weapons, and AR-15s. Oh, my God. So, Merrick Garland, how's it going, pal? Are you paying attention to this? And when Trump, according to Cassidy Hutchinson, Trump was also severely pissed off when he found out that the Secret Service wasn't letting armed supporters through security. And he found out about that when he was in that white tent before he gave his little masturbatory speech on the Ellipse with his fucked up family and the bitches and bastards that comprise his inner circle. And that's when Hutchinson said, "I was in the vicinity of a conversation. I overheard the president say, I don't care if they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me." But that scene that she described after the speech, when Trump got into that heavily fortified limousine, you couldn't take that fucking thing out with a grenade launcher. And he literally tried to wrestle the steering wheel away from the head of his Secret Service detail so they could go to the Capitol. And here's how Cassidy Hutchinson relayed what she heard from Ornato about that moment. You remember who he was. This is what she said, quote, "The president said something to the effect of, 'I'm the fucking president. Take me to the Capitol now.' To which Robert Engel, the head of the Secret Service detail, responded, quote, 'Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing,' end quote. The president reached up toward the front of the vehicle to grab the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm and said, 'Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol.' Trump then used his free hand to lunge toward Robert Engel, according to Ms. Hutchinson, and said, 'I'm the fucking president. I am the fucking president.' And she said that Mr. Ornato motioned to his throat to describe a kind of choking motion that Trump was trying to apply to the Secret Service head of his detail, who at that point, I'm sure, was trained, unless it was the president, to pull out his service revolver and shoot the fucker dead. I'm trying to process, and I don't know if you're having the same issues that I am, trying to process what this testimony yesterday meant from Cassidy Hutchinson. With the details that she provided and the conversations about which she took notes and was able to, in some instances, give a verbatim response, not during the live part of the testimony yesterday, but during her depositions. And then Liz Cheney putting up on the screen in the hearing room those depositions, those questions and answers that she provided, the answers that she provided. And as I let this stuff kind of percolate, and when I watched last night the recap on MSNBC, it became extremely, blatantly, full color, clear to me what this dirty, filthy, goddamn Donald Trump scum had in mind. He wanted to overthrow the government of the United States and establish himself as dictator. Now, the military establishment in this country had made it clear that they were not going to respond to a call for martial law that Trump had decided he might use as a way of suspending all the laws in this country. That's what martial law is. Everything stops. There's no longer any habeas corpus. There's no longer any guilty until proven innocent. There is no longer the 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights to the Constitution. It all stops and goes into limbo. And there's one person in charge, the President of the United States. And the military had made it clear. And I don't think anybody came out and directly said this, but they were not going to respond. And when I think about the military, I think about that filthy fucking 4-star general, Michael, what the fuck is his last name? You know who I mean. Who, when asked during his depositions if he believed in the peaceful transition of power in this country, and he pled the Fifth Amendment. He pled the Fifth Amendment. A military officer of that rank, and he wouldn't commit to the most basic aspect of self-governance in this country. Oh my God. I'm sorry I forget Michael's last name, that filthy pig, but I'm trying to, I guess I'm trying to forget all of this, even though I know I can't. But to know that somebody of that rank, 4-star general, would not commit to the idea of a peaceful transition of power is staggering, just staggering. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.